We are doing Masechet Sanhedrin Daf Sadi Daled. You will have the book, or you should have the book close to you. Sadi Daled Amud Bet. And we're dealing with that famous war between Sanhedrin on the one side, the king of Assyria, and Chizkiyahu Melech Yerushalayim. And as I was finishing my preparations for the class, something shows up on my feed, on my internet feed, and here it is. So I just want to show it to you. So this is literally June 16th. What's the date today?
17.
So this is from yesterday. New York Post article, clues of bloody biblical battle. This just showed on my Google feed. Clues of, actually Instagram feed. Clues of bloody biblical battle between angel of God and 185,000 invading soldiers uncovered in Jerusalem. New research.
Wait.
That's amazing. That's crazy.
Right? This is exactly the topic. I was preparing for the class, and I was, so after I finished the class, let me check my Instagram to see what's going on, and this shows up in my feed. It's the war. This is a war between Sanhedrin, the 185,000 soldiers. What?
What does the article
So let's
say?
read. I'll read a couple of lines of the article. Researchers in Jerusalem have uncovered an ancient military base that may provide clues of a battleground for God's army. By this, they mean the angels, against Assyrian soldiers, right? Melech Ashur. Ashur is Assyria, who came to conquer the Holy Land around 2,700 years ago. As the Bible story goes, an angel of the Lord is said to have descended on the invading troops and killed 185,000 soldiers in one night. You all know that because we've been studying about this. It says the Assyrian Empire reigned from 1365 BCE to 609 BCE, led by King Sanherib. Right here. A previously known carving on the stone walls of Sanherib's palace, which I spoke to you about. You remember we said about depicts the conquest of Lachish, a city 42 miles south of Jerusalem, and you probably remember that I spoke about that also, the city of Lachish, and how they were killed in a sadistic manner, and how there's a museum in London which has the original tablets and the pictures of the way it was done, not photos. They didn't have cameras then, but they with this ancient engraving, archaeological Stephen Compton was able to cross-reference aerial photos of the alleged area, part of a historic site in Israel called Ammunition Hill, in 1910, to discover the maps matched up with the engravings in that museum, which is just pretty amazing. It's just crazy stuff. Anyway, I thought you would like that. You can check the New York Post. I know nobody here reads the New York Post. It's beneath our intellectual dignity, but for this you can do it, right?
185,000?
185,000.
Isn't that a big army for that much time?
Well, no, but that's what the Tanakh says. The Tanakh talks about it. So the New York Post is bringing this new archaeological evidence. I was very surprised.
That's crazy.
In the New York Post of old.
Thank God there was no UN at the time. They would have
They would have definitely condemned Israel.
The angels.
they would have condemned God. They would have condemned the angels. They would have condemned the Jews. By the way, I have to say that if you're not convinced that the world has gone completely mad, the fact that Israel was condemned for rescuing hostages, and I'm not sure if you know the story. So while they were trying to drive the hostages out, they were in the middle of a refugee camp, and the car that the hostages were in got stuck. So they were getting shot at, RPG missiles, machine gun fire. It was crazy. Like they were literally, and now they're in the refugee camp. It's one car, and they're surrounded from all sides. And they're getting shot at, bombs, grenades. It was like a scene out of some nutty movie. And I don't know how they got out. It took a couple of minutes. They called some soldiers. I think they brought them by helicopter to help rescue the rescuers. Now, what I don't understand is it took 5-10 minutes for that helicopter to make it. I'm being really kind here. I probably took 15-20 minutes. I don't know how during that 15-20 minutes these soldiers and the hostages weren't killed. I mean, they're in the middle of a refugee camp, surrounded by Hamas terrorists, and they're all trying to get them. So over the course of that battle, it was really a miracle. We killed about 250. They call them civilians. I don't really care whether you call them civilians or Hamas. It's the same garbage.
Civilians shooting grenades.
Right, civilians, very well. Innocent civilians shooting grenades at hostages trying to escape.
Allegedly.
Right, allegedly. I like that. That's good. So it really wasn't a remarkable. It was mamash a nes. One Israeli soldier was killed, Chazit. Apparently a very good person. But 250 terrorists killed. That's amazing. 1 to 250. It's unheard of. So anyway, so that's what happened. Nevertheless, we will continue. So that's interesting. So we saw that that article in the New York Post.
It's the same ratio that they wanted for the release of the hospitals.
I'm sorry, why?
Because they wanted like a 50 to 1.
Oh right, I like that. You're right.
They're getting a 50 to 1.
50 to 1. Yes.
Each one you rescue, we kill 50.
Yes, you're right. Okay. It was a good deal. For Israel. It was a great deal. But okay, so let us continue. So Amar Rav Yosef, Ilmale tirgemuha dehaikera. Oh no, so it's right before Amar Rav Yosef. There's a line before. The pasuk says as follows. I'm going to read to you. I want to read to you the context so you understand what happened here. And the idea that we're going to be reading about here is that one of the mistakes that the Jewish people made leading up to the destruction is that they didn't appreciate good leaders, and they actually supported bad leaders. So now this is an endemic mistake. So for example, in the days of Jeremiah, he was a prophet, of course, he was surrounded by Nevi Esheket. So almost all the prophets were false prophets, talking in the name of God, but no, actually not talking in the name of God, pretending to talk in the name of God, right? And the people supported the false prophets over Yirmiyahu, who was basically the real prophet, Hazid. Everybody was against him. So here, also political leaders, it ends up that Hizkiah was a very proper, pious leader. And let me give you the background, what happened, so now you'll understand what I'm about to read to you in the Gemara. So here's what's happening. Since Shlomo HaMelech died, hundreds of years before this story, Israel was divided into two. There was a civil war. There was the northern kingdom, which consisted of 10 tribes. And there was the southern kingdom, which included Jerusalem. That kingdom was under Melech Hizkiah. He was the king. And in the north, Pakach ben Remaliyahu had a deal with the king of Syria. Back then there was no Syria. The king was Melech Aram. And the idea was that they would join together and take over Jerusalem, meaning destroy the southern kingdom. So the Jews in the northern kingdom made an alliance with Syria, with the Syrian kingdom. And under that, Shalom Aleichem, how are you? Ricky, how you doing? Oh my gosh, how beautiful to see you. Wonderful to see you. Klotu, thank you for dropping in. Yes. So they made this alliance. The Jews made an alliance with the king of Aram to take over Jerusalem. You understand the idea? Very dirty politics, obviously, right? Because there's going to be a lot of Jews are going to be killed, right? But that was the politics. Now here's where things got really bad. The Jews who lived in Jerusalem and in Judea, many of them supported Pakach ben Remaliyahu. They were going to actually overthrow Hizkiah. They liked Pakach ben Remaliyahu. He was a more modern king. They had idolatry. They had child sacrifice. Just really nice things. We have transgender surgery in America. I hope nobody here is against it, please. And if you are, I don't want to hear about it because, I just don't want to be upset at anybody. But then they had child sacrifice to the Molech. That was so they had Avodah Zarah in the northern kingdom. They were modern. They were progressive. They were woke. Right? Okay. Exactly. They were woke. And Hizkiah was, he was like, he wasn't like that. He just didn't get it. So they wanted him out. So that's what's happening. So now they understand that. I'm going to read the Gemara. I'm going to read the Pasuk, and you are going to understand what it is that the Pasuk says. The Gemara is going to start with Pasuk in Yeshaya Hanavi. So I'm actually going to read the Pasuk in Yeshaya Hanavi so you hear it. And it is as follows, 94, Give me a moment. I'm sorry. Okay, you have the pasuk. You have the beginning of the pasuk in the Gemara. I can't find it. Here it is. Okay. Okay, here it is. Right before Amar of Yosef. Go 2 lines before Amar of Yosef. It says, this is a pasuk in Isaiah, chapter 8. Ya'an ki ma'as ha'am hazeh et me hashiloach. I am upset, says God to Isaiah, and Isaiah is going to report this to the Jewish people. I am upset at this nation because they despise the beautiful river in Jerusalem, ha'olechim le'at. The river in Jerusalem is a pleasant river. The water source in Jerusalem is a fountain which is called Meh HaShiloach, the Shiloach fountain, or the waters of the Shiloach. The people despise this. Umsos et resin uben Remaliah. Instead, they are infatuated with the king of the northern kingdom of Israel. Meaning, what he's saying here is as follows. He's saying that the king in Jerusalem is a pleasant person. He's not violent. He doesn't have any turbulence. And you want the turbulence of the king of the northern kingdom. His name was Ben Remaliah. You want him because he's charismatic. He's like, fluster and a good speaker. So that's why I'm upset at the Jewish people, says God. So Amar Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef says the following. If it wasn't for the fact that we have the Aramaic translation of this verse, I and we would not understand what this verse means. What does it mean that you have forsaken the gentle waters of the Shiloach, and instead of the gentle waters of the Shiloach, you prefer Ben Remaliah? Answer, and this is word for word from the Targum Yonatan ben Uziel, and it is as follows. Halaf dekas ama haden b'malchuta de Bet David, because you people despise the kingdom of David. The kingdom of David is the kingdom from which the Mashiach is going to come, and you're despising that. Hizkiah is the kingdom of David. He speaks in a beautiful way, the same way the waters of the Shiloach are very gentle, they're very pleasing waters. He speaks to you in a gentle way. There's phony politicians and there's people who care. The people who care, they have a certain humble mannerism to them. But the phony politicians, they make noise so he speaks beautifully to you. Denagdin beniach, these waters are going in a gentle way. And instead you want you want the alliance of Syria, Aram, together with the northern kingdom of Israel, and you want these people to take over Jerusalem? I can't accept that, says God. So that's the Aramaic translation on the verse, and that's what the verse is intending. Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan, continuing on the same topic, he asks the following: May dichtiv me'erat Adonai bebet rasha Wunve Sadiq Yevarech. There's a pasuk in Mishlei, in Proverbs. This is a book written by Shlomo HaMelech, and the book written by Shlomo HaMelech, Proverbs, is a book which has many politically intelligent comments, and here is one of them, and it's related to what we just read. It says, "The curse of God shall be upon the house of the wicked." What do you think is the worst curse for a person?
Death.
Death is bad, but while he's alive. Because the curse while he's alive. So you'll see what it is. We'll see what it is. Sickness, okay. Me'erat Adonai bevet rasha. We'll see.
Losing your children.
What? Bar minan, God forbid, yes. Unve sadikim yebarech. But he gives a beracha, he will give a beracha to the house of the Sadiqim. So first it says, Me'erat Hashem bevet rasha, Unve sadikim yebarech. Me'erat Adonai bevet rasha. The curse of God shall be upon the house of the evil. You know what it is? This refers to a person who succeeded. He made the money. He did it. He bought everything he wanted to buy, and he conquered everything he wanted to conquer, and he's a very successful business person or politician, whatever it is. But you know what the curse is?
He's not happy.
He can't enjoy it. He's not happy. Yeah. He can't enjoy it, right? One of the bad things, Ezoi derech ra'ash yelech baha adam. One of the qualities is ayn ra'ah. You can't enjoy what you have. Everything you have doesn't bring you happiness, right? So then what's the point?
It's like Kohelet.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes, you see, like, whenever I go to a wedding, I always try to remind the people, the parents, to just enjoy themselves. Because sometimes you get so wound up in the preparations, and, there's always mistakes happening. That's just, the world today is full of mistakes. People are always making mistakes, and it's annoying. You spend a lot of money, and the people made a mistake, and now you're like, so it's like, I always tell people, like in the wedding, just enjoy yourself, doesn't matter. Nothing matters, it's beautiful. Your children are getting married, how beautiful in the bed. Just enjoy it. Who cares about, this and that, and sushi I wanted with salmon or without? It's all nonsense, right?
That's important.
Well, right? No, but you see what I'm saying? Meaning just enjoy the moment. People forget that sometimes because we get wound up in stupidity. So that's a me'erat Adonai bevet rasha. The guy can't enjoy what he has. We'll see how this is related in a moment. Ulves tzadikim yevarech, and then you have a person who doesn't have a lot in his life,
But he's happy what he has.
but he's happy. He has mental presence. You know what I'm saying? I don't think about mental presence for a second. You're present in the moment. You're enjoying the moment. It could be like, just give you an example. You could be listening to a beautiful song, but you're wound up, you're like talking, you're arguing, you're eating, you're this, you're that. And it's the same song. And then you can just stop. And you just feel good. And your mind is open, it's present to the music. And then you experience the beauty of the music. See what I'm saying? It really is, and we don't do that enough. I'm just saying, because I'm telling you all, do it. Stop and just be present in moments in your life. And it should be regular moments, whether it's Shabbat, everybody's around the table, and just you're sitting with your children and your wife, and Baruch Hashem, Shabbat Lael, whatever it is. Be present in that moment. You're listening to a nice song, listen to it. Stop. Just stop and listen and enjoy. You get it? Okay. So that's the Unves Tzadikim Yevarech. So it says as follows. So Rabbi Yochanan explains the pasuk as follows. Me'erat Adonai bevet rasha ze pakach ben Remaliyahu shaya ochel 40 seah gozalot b'kinur seuda. Pakach ben he was the king again of northern Israel. So Pakach ben Remaliyahu, he would have such a huge meal every day. He had, you can imagine, the banquet in the palace. Everybody's there, all the ministers, everybody's there. They would have, just for the dessert, they would have 40 se'ah. So each se'ah is 2.2 gallons. So let's say 40, 80 gallons. Okay, there would be 80 gallons of young chicks, young birds, gozalot, right? Baby birds. That was just for the dessert. They would have that. The guy's fabulously wealthy. He had unbelievable banquets. That was just the dessert, right? On the other hand, Chizkiah, who was a humble king of the southern kingdom, his banquet was a liter of vegetables. They didn't have food. There was a war. There was a famine. People didn't have food. He enjoyed his liter of vegetables, whatever that was, more than the people in that palace up north were enjoying the gallons and gallons and gallons of baby chicks for dessert. You understand? So that's a beracha. That's a special beracha that comes from God. The ability to enjoy comes from God. Some people don't have it, so God punishes the rasha by, you want to win this? Yeah, win lotto. Okay. You want to buy that building? Yeah, buy that building. But you ain't going to be able to enjoy it. That's the punishment. You see? Okay. So continuing, so you see the characters in the story. You have Pakach ben Remaliyahu and you have Chizkiah HaMelech. I am now going to continue in the Gemara, which I am looking for. Here we go. Okay. Any questions before I continue, or it's clear?
Clear.
Good. Okay. All right. Fine. Okay. Okay. ולכן הנה אדוני מעלה עליהם את מי הנהר העצומים והרבים את מלך אשור. Because you people despise the beautiful waters of Jerusalem, right? And we said that's the parable for the king of Jerusalem who had a pleasantness to him. For that reason, I'm going to punish you. You want rough waters? I'll bring you rough waters. I'm going to bring Melech Ashur. The king of Ashur is going to come here, and he's going to be like a raging river coming to overtake Judea. Uchtiv v'halaf bihuda. Let me read this pasuk correctly. The pasuk says v'halaf bihuda shataf ve'avar atzavar ageh. It's going to be like a flash flood coming into Judea, and the flash flood is going to reach up to the necks of the people. It's going to be almost like they're going to be dying. Ve'hayamutot kenaf atzavar ageh. So ela ma'ita ama'ini. So the Gemara says as follows: if it's the case that God ordered Sanhedrin to come to Jerusalem, God ordered Sanhedrin to take over Judea, so why did God punish him? Meaning, when Sanhedrin came, he came according to the mission of God because his job was to punish these people because they despised Hizkiah, because they despised Malchut Beit David. So why was he punished? Navi Aseret HaShevatim itnabeh. Because when Isaiah made this prophecy, he was referring specifically to the 10 tribes and to parts of Judea. These people despise Hizkiah. He never said you're going to come into Jerusalem. Now Sanhedrin, he had to understand his mission. God made him the king. So God made him the king. He's now going to take over the 10 tribes. He took over the 10 tribes. They went into exile. Very nice. Then he came to Judea. He took over all the cities in Judea. Who told you you can enter Jerusalem? Nobody told you you can enter Jerusalem. And this happens sometimes where you have evil dictators, evil autocrats, that they get to power and God puts them in power and they abuse their power even beyond what they were supposed to do originally, right? Meaning you want to be an autocrat, be an autocrat. You want to be a totalitarian leader, be a totalitarian leader, but even that should have limits, right? But sometimes people, they get so drunk with power that they go beyond anything that makes sense. So take Yamach Shmuel Hitler. What? Paro was a good son. Why are you taking the babies and throwing them into the ocean? You enslave the Jewish people. Okay, they're slaves. That's it, they're slaves. Why do you have to take babies and throw them into the Nile? What are you, nuts? You see, so they pass it. Take Hitler. Okay, you don't like the Jews, put them in concentration camps. Okay, they're in concentration camps. America, during World War II, they put Japanese in concentration camps. They did. Okay, I'm not saying right, wrong. I'm not here to criticize. But I'm saying they did it. But America didn't take Japanese and kill them in in death camps. You see what I'm saying? No, okay. Right, they didn't, right? But what got the Germans doing? I mean, are you crazy? Like, do you not have any sense of, what's going on here? So these evil people, they go beyond what would normally would be the normal course. So you are the king, Sanhedrin. Yes, okay. You destroy the entire northern state of Israel. Everybody in exile. You took over Judea, and now you're coming to the holy city. You're putting your hand on Yerushalayim. By the way, it says that Le'atid Lavo in the Milchama of Gog and Magog. That's exactly what's going to happen. There's going to be a war, and the war will be in Israel. And as long as they don't go to Jerusalem. But once they get to Jerusalem, once they put their hand on Jerusalem, Jerusalem is going to be like a poison for them. Meaning they're going to get attracted, they're going to become drunk with power. Let me go to Jerusalem now, because everybody knows Jerusalem is a holy city. By the way, anybody here, any Jew wants to take over Mecca? Medina? They're holy cities for the Muslims. Do you want them? Didn't change your mind, right? Okay, you can have Mecca. Does any Christian want Mecca? No Christian wants Mecca. Nobody wants Medina. Okay. The Muslims want. Okay. Let's look at Vatican City. You want Vatican City? I'm happy. You can keep Vatican City. Just give me back the Kelim of the Bet HaMikdash. I'll be happy. They hold it, brother. They have the Kelim of the Bet HaMikdash there. It's known. It's like a fact. Okay. But we don't want it. We don't consider Vatican City holy. Do the Muslims consider it holy? No. They want to take over the world, but they don't. It's not that Vatican City is holier than than Padua, Italy, or than Venice, or Milano, right? It's another city, so they want to take over the whole world. But Vatican City is not a holy city. Why is it that everybody considers, all the religions consider Jerusalem holy? Why? The Christians consider it holy. The Muslims consider it holy. Everybody considers it holy. Because everybody knows the truth. Because everybody knows the truth. Everybody understands that the Jewish Torah is real. The Jews are the chosen people. We have the city of Jerusalem. They all want the city of Jerusalem because they're drunk with power, because they get it. The city of Jerusalem is a real thing. One of the reasons that the Muslims go crazy when Jews go on the Har HaBayit, on the Temple Mount, because they themselves have a tradition that if we ever retake the Temple Mount, that's it, the Mashiach is coming, they're going to have to leave. That's why Moshe Dayan, in the 6-day war, when he got to the Temple Mount, they left. They didn't leave because they're such good people, because they saw him. The Mufti actually gave Moshe Dayan the keys to the Har HaBayit. The reason is because in their tradition, they understand when the Jews take over, we're over. It's over for us. So he left willingly. So the point is that this guy, Sanhedrin, what are you doing in Jerusalem? Okay, you went to the northern Israel, lovely. Why you want to take Jerusalem? You know it's a holy city, leave it alone. But no, he wanted it. You get the point, it's a very subtle point. So that's the idea. So that's the Amale, ki lo mu'af la'asher musak. These are all riddles. So this is another prophecy of Isaiah in the same topic. Ki lo mu'af la'asher musak la. There is going to be a situation where Sanhedrin lo mu'af. What does the word ayef mean in Hebrew? Tired. He's going to have an unlimited amount of energy. La'asher musak la. And he's going to be able to oppress. He's going to be able to oppress, and nobody's going to be able to stop him because he's not going to be getting tired. Like a superhero in Hollywood movie. You ever see the movie just keeps running and running and running and jumping, and he never goes to the bathroom or eats or sleeps, but somehow he keeps doing it. Right, okay. Now the Pasuk says as follows. I'm going to read you the Pasuk as it is in the Gemara. You don't have it in the Gemara. I'm going to finish the Pasuk so you understand it. The first time that Sanhedrin entered Jerusalem, it was very light. We're going to see what it was very light means. He reached the northern part of Israel. Zebulun is in what today is Lebanon. Naphtali is what today is the Galil. So he reached those parts of Israel. But it was light. But the second time he came in, it was very heavy. He went by the coastal road, and then from there he cut across from the west, which is the Mediterranean. He cut across, and he literally cut off Israel, right? So he went down the coastal road, so he got this part, so now he controls all the shipping lanes, and then he went across to the Jordan River. So now the Gemara says, what does this mean? So, right. Amar Rabbi Elazar b'Berachia, en nimsar am ayef b'Torah b'yad mi hamasigo. Very beautiful. It's a derasha. This isn't the peshat. Ki lo mu'af la'asher musak la means like this. If you are mu'af, if you, the Jewish people, are tired because you're engaged in the study of Torah, and when you're engaged in the study of Torah, it mentally occupies you. By the way, if you ever have insomnia at night, best cure. I don't know, they have different cures. Do this. Take that pill. Take this pill. Best thing. Open up a Torah book. Immerse yourself in the study of Torah. You'll fall asleep within 5 minutes because it's mentally engaging. It's true. You know, because you're in the middle of the night, and the Torah, it engages your mind in a way which is exhausting.
We all take our phones out when we can't sleep.
That's a mistake because the phones. No, because I'll tell you what.
The Gemara has a blue light.
Think like during the rabbi's speech. Everyone gets so engaged.
No, the problem with the phone is that the light, the color of the light is very bad because it messes up the circadian rhythms. But seriously, study till I mean, if I'm waking up in the middle of the night to study, it's not going to be for 5 minutes. I'll study for an hour or 2 hours, whatever it is. But when you're done with studying, you're like, that's it. You sleep like a baby, right? So he says, if you people are tired because you're studying Torah so much, the mesik, musak, meaning the person who's oppressing you is not going to be able to touch you, right? Ki lo mu'af la'asher musak la. You understand this? Again, en nimsar amayef, but Torah, biyad mi hamasik. If you have a nation of people who are engaged in the study of Torah, and from this it exhausts them mentally, they're not able to touch them.
Why this thing? Because you're being protected?
Right, because you're being protected. I just want to say this, by the way. This is, how do I say this without being political? I can't. Okay, but I'll say it anyway. So, there's a notion that's promoted by political parties in Israel that somehow some people should be studying Torah because those people that are studying Torah, it's going to inure to the benefit of everybody else. That's a false notion. The correct notion is everybody should be studying Torah, everybody should be educated properly, everybody should be a good, intelligent Jew who's familiar with the Torah and who engages in the study of Torah on a regular basis. And if you have a nation like that, then Hashem will protect and make miracles for that nation. Right? That's what this Gemara is saying. Right? Completely contrary to the idea of, you'll have a small number of people studying Torah, and not serving in the army. No. So this Gemara says what's going to protect the nation is everybody. It's a nation of intelligent, wise people, right? So the miracles will happen. So the Gemara continues and he says,
because
then
we have other notions that say you should study Torah not because you're going to get a reward, not because you're going to be punished, but just because you're supposed to do it. So how do you try to reconcile?
By the way, you're absolutely right. Of course, we do believe that when we study Torah, when we do mitzvot, the mitzvot we do is not because we anticipate God to reward us for those mitzvot, but there is something to be said to the idea that you have a nation. Take the samurais in, I believe that was in Japan, right? So they were like a nation of warriors. So they were engaged in one thing: their physical dexterity, their physical power, their fighting skills, and that's what's going to win you the war. And we have a revolutionary idea here. We have an idea here is that actually, if you're an intelligent nation who is engaged in studying the Word of God, that's what's going to win you the war. It's a beautiful notion,
right.
I think, right? Yeah. Meaning it's not just all about, the famous scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark where you have the big Arab guy throwing the sword up and down. I was like, look, the guy's like 7 feet tall and, what's his name, that movie actor, Indiana Jones? Harrison Ford, yeah. So he's like, just okay. I have to deal with this person as he just takes a gun, shoots him, and that's a guy collapses. Right? So you see, right? Exactly. So that's the idea. Meaning, sometimes you think of prowess and muscle and this and that. No, sometimes a nation that's intelligent and is engaged in the Word of God, miracles will happen to that nation. So you're right, but it's also a beautiful message here, right? Right? It's not everything is strength and brute force. So, so it says as follows: when this king came to Arsa Zebulun and Arsa Naphtali, that was in the 10 tribes, right? The northern kingdom. When this king went there, it was very easy for him because they were not engaged with Torah. As I said, they were doing Avodah Zarah. So it was hekel, meaning it was very easy for him. But then, when he came the second time and now he's going towards Jerusalem, what happened? Because the people there were studying Torah under the instruction of Hizkiah, right? So they were worthy of the miracles that happened to the Jewish people when we crossed the Red Sea. Also when we entered Israel and the Jordan River stopped, we were worthy of those miracles by virtue of the fact that we were a nation that was engaged in the study of Torah. And therefore, and therefore this person, Sanhedrin, he made a mistake. You think that you destroyed the 10 northern tribes, and because you destroyed the 10 northern tribes, you're going to be able to destroy the city of Jerusalem? Forget about it. The 10 northern tribes, they were idolaters. The city of Jerusalem, they were involved in Talmud Torah. So I'm not going to make you conquer the city of Jerusalem. So I'm warning you, you better step back, and if you don't step back, I'm going to humiliate you among the Gentile nations. Give me a moment, I just have to get a cup of water, and I just don't... Give me a sec. All right.
You could press play now.
Okay, we're good. Okay, if anybody said anything bad, it's all on the being recorded.
They were passing notes.
They were passing notes. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל היה מדברו. Okay. Continuing in the Gemara. Ahare hadevarim v'ha'emet ha'elle. So now, let me tell you what's happening here. The book of Divrei Hayamim, it repeats the same story from a different angle. And in the book of Divrei Hayamim, it mentions what was done by Chizkiah HaMelech, meaning it tells you what was so special about the city of Jerusalem that we said that they were worthy of miracles like Kiriat Yamsuf. So the book of Divrei Hayamim says that that the king Chizkiah did these beautiful things in the city of Jerusalem. We'll see soon some of them, some of the things he did. He fixed up the Bet HaMikdash and he ensured that everything in the Bet HaMikdash was done according to halacha, properly. And he really was a great king who prayed to God and studied Torah and did his best to really understand what he needs to do. And because of this, he was successful. That's what the Pasuk says. You don't have it in the Gemara. The Pasuk you have in the Gemara is the following Pasuk. After having related the story and telling you the truth about how great Chizkiah HaMelech was, Sanheriv Melech Ashur. After all this that Chizkiah did, Sanheriv suddenly appears on the horizon. So it's really weird. Imagine like you have a king, everybody in Jerusalem is tzaddikim, and then suddenly it looks like it's all going to be destroyed. Like, why would that happen? So that's what the Gemara is going to deal with now. The Gemara is going to deal with this situation. It says as follows. Okay, one second. Okay. So, אחרי הדברים והאמת האלה, בא שמחים לחשוב ויבוא ביהודה, ויחן את הערים הבסורות, ויאמר לבקעם אליו. And then Melech Ashur, Sanheriv comes, and he destroys all the cities in Judea. We said that about 4 weeks ago. And then he gets to Jerusalem. And Chizkiah is terrified because he realizes he's going to kill everybody. So, Hai Raishena Lehai Pardashna, how on earth is how can you reward Chizkiah by bringing him this gift? Meaning, Chizkiah did a beautiful thing. He gave a gift in the sense that he made all the Jewish people make teshuvah, he fixed the Bet HaMikdash, he got rid of Avodah Zarah. And this is what you do to him? You reward him in this way? You understand the question? You're saying after the beautiful thing that Chizkiah did, comes Mr. Dictator to destroy everything. He destroys all of Judea, and now he reaches Jerusalem. So Amar Avena, לאחר שקפץ הקדוש ברוך הוא ונשבע, ואמר, אי אמין עלה לחזקיה, מה ייתן עלה לסנחריב, because God realized as follows. God wanted to do a miracle with the Jewish people. He wanted them to see this miracle. He wanted the Jews to understand that when you follow the Torah, when everybody is studying Torah, and everybody is following the Torah, that miracles will happen, not to be afraid of anybody. So God made a Shavuah. The reason he made a Shavuah, he made a Shavuah, I'm going to bring Sanheriv to Jerusalem. That was a Shavuah. Right, now why? Because he says as follows, if I would tell Chizkiah, look, I'm going to bring Sanheriv, the terrifying dictator, and he's going to get to Jerusalem. And don't worry, you're going to defeat him. Don't worry, everything is going to be good. What's Chizkiah HaMelech going to tell me? I don't want him, and I don't want the miracles. Do me a favor. Imagine somebody says to Bibi Netanyahu, I'm going to bring Hamas all the way to Jerusalem. But don't worry, it's going to be good at that. Thank you. Can you just keep him out of the country? I'll be very happy. Thank you very much. He was the things he did were horrible. I mean, the torture, and he didn't just kill people, right? So it's okay. I don't want him, and I don't want the fear of him being next to me. That's why miyad kapas hakadosh baruch hu. God made a shevuah v'nishba demaiten aleh. That's acharei devarim mehaemet. After all of these beautiful things that Chizkiah did, God made a shevuah. Emet means He's making a shevuah that I'm going to bring Chizkiah. Shene'eman nishba Adonai Sevot lemor im lo kasher dimiti ken hayeta v'chen ya'asi hi takum lishbor Ashur. I want to destroy Ashur in the land of Israel. The Al Harai Abusenu V'san ma'alehem ulo v'subolo. I want this to happen in Israel. That's what's going to happen in Gog and Magog, and we're going to be done in a minute. In Gog and Magog, God is going to say, I don't want Gog to die outside Israel. I want Gog to come inside Israel, and I want the miracles to happen in the land of Israel. So everybody understands these miracles are happening for the Jewish people, for the benefit of the Jewish people, and for the holiness of the land of Israel. So that's what's going to. So same thing that happened here with Sanhedrin will happen in Gog and Magog. Both things. That one happened in Israel. Gog and Magog will happen in Israel, and well, after that, hopefully, we'll be able to breathe a sigh of relief.